So I'm Gordon Helm, I'm a partner at Cooley, and those of you who don't know Cooley, we're a technology-based law firm of about 700 lawyers, headquartered here in Palo Alto, but we have offices around the U.S. where the technology centers are, and also an office in Shanghai, China. So I don't want to talk more about Cooley. Let's get to the company. So the ground rules, we're going to do our own mini American Idol here. So what we're going to do is we're going to give each of the 5 presenting companies 6 minutes, exactly 6 minutes to present. Okay, and after they present, then our panelists are going to ask them questions for 4 minutes. Okay, and after that, we're going to go through 5 companies, and at the end, we're going to ask everybody, the panelists and everybody in the room, to actually vote for one company that you think has the most potential, and then the winners are going to be announced at the end. Okay, so that's kind of ground rules. So for you guys, you're going to get prompts from her here for 6 minutes, 3 minutes.
3, 1, and done.
And then after that, the ground's open and you drop in and stop. So. Okay, so the first company, Olivier, is, well, actually, let me do this first. Why don't I quickly introduce the panelists? Maybe, Jim, you can start and just give 30 seconds on what you do.
Sure. Jim Conner from Sand Hill Angels. Sand Hills has about 80 members. We are a regular angel group in Silicon Valley here, and we meet every month, and we participate in typically equity rounds as much as possible.
Nexus Venture Partners, we're an international venture firm with about $600 million under management, offices in the US and India. We do early stage investments, typically seed, Series A, both consumer and enterprise.
Rachel, I'm principal at DFJ. We invest in internet and all sorts of technology as usually the first institutional investor, either late seed or Series A, sometimes Series B.
Okay, thanks. So why don't we get started? The first company is EPON, and these guys develop real-time track and control technology that enables interactions between objects and electronics. So Olivier Verrock here is going to explain to us what that means.
All right. Okay, thank you, Gordon. Do you guys like magic? So every time I do homework with my kids, I start with a magic trick or something to get them excited. And since we're talking about object control and tracking, can you see this rubber band? Okay. See how I can just, with my mind, make it move from one figure to the other. Okay. So anyway, let's get into the subject. Did you guys? Anyway, so EPON, the object advantage. We've all seen the explosion of touch technology. Really, one piece that's missing is the object, being able to track object on the surface. Okay, and this is what EPON has done. If we can go to the next slide. Am I switching the slides or?
I could do it if you want.
Okay, all right. Okay, so really what EPON is, it's a technology to track and also to control objects in real time, and that allows interaction between objects and electronics. Okay, I'm going to show you what it means. You can go to the next slide. How does it work? So this is a surface. Okay, very simple. This costs about $1 to manufacture, something like that. It can be any size, really. We don't have limitation. We're talking to floor companies, thinking about smart floors. Okay, so really we don't have any limitation in size. And then we have a tracking tag, and the tracking tag goes on the surface and is being tracked that way. Okay. The tags can be much smaller than that. They can be in a stylus. I have a video that I show at the end where you see someone writing on a board, on a smart board, and this is all tracked with this technology. Okay. It's completely OS agnostic, so we're not getting involved in OS or anything. What we're providing is the technology to track and control the objects. It's also completely form factor agnostic, so we've put this technology in screens, in TV screens. There's one product that we are selling in France, which is a 46-inch TV screen where we are tracking objects, and I show you also a demo of that. And we also have that in, more for the toy market. In a plastic shell, so the costs are not so high. Go to the next one. So there are several technologies out there, tracking and controlling objects too, but none of them really are achieving this level of interaction. Each one of these technologies, so we talk a lot about NFC, near field communication. Near-field communication is a great technology, but it's a very binary technology. So either the tag is there or it's not there. Okay, what EPON can do, we can define that the tag is there, but also we can find out what the tag is doing when it's there. So if the tag moves, goes around, moves around, we can find all that out. The size can be as big or as small as you want. We can manage rotation, position, speed, really anything. Okay, if we can go to the next slide. So our initial market, the company is based in France. Today we're working with high-end showroom, high-end retail, simply because it's a market that's a lot easier to address than other markets. We don't have to develop heavy content. The development of the software can be relatively small. So we have several projects with large companies usually. The projects run anywhere between 30,000 euro to 100,000 euro, where we have this high-end retail display where we display objects. If we can go to the next slide. Can we play the video here? Probably, yeah, I need to do it. Next slide. Thank you. Thank you. So we're doing that. It's not a very scalable model. We need to manufacture these and so on. But we're not giving up on this market. That's a market that's bringing money to us right now, and it's working. But then you can think about video games, board games, drawing, educational application, all sorts of application in the commercial space. Interactive whiteboard. There's very little content, so that's why we like this market. We don't have to spend 2 years developing a software for that or work with a company developing a software. But you can have a whiteboard, and I could be drawing on this whiteboard with this behind the whiteboard, and that would go on your iPad or anything really in the room and could be emailed to anybody. Retail displays, sales demos, and then collaborative application, drawing application. So there's many markets that we wish to explore. Go to the next slide, please. So the first 3 markets we want to go after the retail market are the toy and video game market. You might have seen the explosion of Skylander, published by Activision.
Okay, Olivier, sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off.
All right.
6 minutes. So we're going to open it up for 4 minutes of questions from the panelists.
Okay, I'll go first. I kind of wish you had started with this slide right here.
Okay.
And, frankly, you might have something great, but you got to get to the subject really quick. You've got this. I would start with this slide and tell me exactly what the application is, and maybe a little bit about how you discovered it, because it sounds like it's got some potential, but you kind of spent a lot of time getting me to guess at what you're going to do. I thought it was a high-end retail tracking device in the beginning. Now I see it's got a cool video game factor. You really need to nail this down, and I did feel you're kind of searching for somebody going, oh, I know what this should be used for. And you really want to nail that in your presentation.
Okay.
So what market use case are you planning to attack? Because it looks like the retail one is what you're doing right now, but you don't think it's scalable. So which is the one which you want to attack?
So right now we're going to a licensing model. So we're working, and today we have a few pilots going on with some of the key players in these 3 fields. Doing whiteboard. I talked about whiteboard. We have a pilot going on right now with a large company in the whiteboard market. But right now we're trying to license out the technology. So technology is the firmware that is embedded in these chips or in these components there. So that's where we want to go.
Do you think your main competition is touch? Or what are the use cases where you need to have a chip as opposed to capacitive touch, and why?
I think it's complementary.
Okay.
I think touch has limitations. I think there's still a very strong relationship between objects and people. People like to have objects, to touch objects, to be able to interact. We do projects with, in the retail space, for example, people they want a shoe, and they want to look at the shoe, they want to try it on, and they want to be able to put it on a surface that's going to tell them all the characteristics of the shoe. So I think both can work together, and that technology can work with touch too. So if you have a touch screen, you add that under the screen, you add this technology, and then you can add the object dimension to it.
Can you talk about your background and the team's background?
My background, I'm not one of the founders of the company. I represent the company in North America. The company is based in France. The background of the founder, was one of the founders of Total Immersion, which is a virtual reality company. And both met at Thales, which is a large French government contractor in the defense space. So they were doing a lot of war simulation, things like that.
So what's the company doing right now in terms of, are you selling only the licensing? Do you have any products where it's being used?
So today we have products, the retail products. So this is in manufacturing in France. We are exploring today to do that through system integrators in North America also. But in North America, we need to have a partnership because we're not going to manufacture, deal with all the after-sales service and all that.
What kind of products do you have in France?
So we have a 46-inch screen retail display.
Like you showed in the demo?
Yeah, I showed the demo.
And you put the objects on it?
You put objects on it, yeah.
And then you have this kind of game?
Yeah, exactly.
And can you talk about what your IP covers?
It covers, well, the technology is electromagnetic. We have 7 patents covering many different aspects of, functional, functional interaction between the objects and all the software that's embedded in there.
Thanks.
Let me ask.
Alrighty, I think time's up here.
What are the distance and limitations? Is there some distance limitation?
So the distance limitation, this is powered by induction. So this tag alone without a battery. Okay.
Thanks. Sorry, I got to cut you guys off. I'm going to be straight. So
not that much.
Let's thank Olivier. Thank you. Okay, great. And just a reminder, I saw a couple of hands in the audience. We're not going to actually take questions from the audience during this session, but we're going to have a networking event after, so we're going to take questions. These guys can take questions there. And okay, our next company is Mimoto. These guys have developed a wearable camera that's able to organize a bunch of photos and data to complete a continuous life log for the user, right? So let's welcome Oscar, guys.
I hope it works. I haven't tested it. I hope it works. I haven't tested myself. Hi, I'm here to tell you about Mimoto, a Swedish startup with the goal to give everyone photographic memory and let them remember every moment. I'm Oscar Kalmar. I'm a co-founder and the marketing manager of Mimoto. I'm also the father of a 3-year-old son. And I have a wife with an iPhone. And I'm friends with some of the best people on the planet, all of whom I share everyday moments and special moments with back home in Stockholm, Sweden. I think you all can relate to these types of moments and relations. So me and my co-founders thought, how can we capture this moment without interrupting them with technology? And how can we get photos of moments we didn't know were going to be memorable? So what if we create a true photographic memory? What if we build a camera small enough to never be in the way and smart enough to capture life as we live it? This is a Memoto live logging camera. It takes 2 photos a minute. Every photo is geotagged and has 5 megapixel quality. With 2 days of battery life, it makes it effortless to capture your life in photos. I have it one way right here. This one I've used constantly since I got off the plane this Sunday. So I have about 5,000 photos from my trip to the Valley so far. That's big data, it's something. I want to let you know, touch it for some. Organizing and storing all that data is a big part of the Memoto service. So here's how that works. When you recharge your Memoto camera to your computer, you also upload the photos to your cloud. And from there, you can access them with your iPhone or Android Memoto app. In the app, you can search, view, and share any moment of your life. If you tap on a photo, you play a time-lapse video of all the photo in that moment. So does this algorithm know what photos to play together? How does Memoto not only make sense of, but really thrive on delivering the best moments of your life? Each moment is divided into sequences. And each sequence is represented by a keyframe. And keyframes are photos with high quality and with faces on them. So what you see here is a timeline from one day with moments on it. Thanks to the GPS in the camera, you can also search for any moment in your past. So say, for instance, that you want to relive this moment at the restaurant the other day. You just go into the app and you type in the position where you were at and the time, and Memoto will show you all the details. And if you want, you can also, of course, share that moment on Facebook. For this organization of photos, we charge a monthly fee of $79 per month. The camera itself is $279 as a list price, and that includes 1 year of storage and organization of photos. In 2012, we launched a Kickstarter campaign that brought in over $500,000. Together with money from seed capital, Passion Capital in England, we used those money to get to production with the first batch of cameras and finalize the production of the software. And since the Kickstarter campaign, we also taken in pre-orders for initial $500,000. So now we have about 4,000 customers waiting to get the first Memoto camera shipped to their doors. We started out in 2012. There were 3 founders. The CEO, Martin Källström, formerly a founder and CEO of a pan-European social media search engine. We have our CTO, Björn Wessén, who's been building cameras for over a decade. And me, Simo Oskar, I was previously a founder and the CEO of Sweden's, at the time, largest video community. Today we're a team of 17 in our offices in Sweden. We're opening up here in San Francisco as well. And we're hiring, by the way. Right now, we're doing some final adjustments to the software and the hardware. The hardware is going through mass production. And later this summer, the first batch for the first users of the world's first wearable life-logging camera is being shipped from the ports of Taiwan. Find me afterwards to see some photos from my trip to the Valley. Thank you.
I have a lot of questions. What percentage of the photos that you take are essentially unrecognizable because they're taken in motion and they're at a relatively low megapixel quality?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a very low percentage. It might be around 5%. But since you take, if you wear it the whole day, and it takes 2 photos a minute, that's about between 1,000 and 2,000 photos a day. So even 5% of them are in the quality of, if you take your cell phone camera like this, still 50 photos if you wouldn't have any otherwise. Of moments you wouldn't bring up your cell phone camera in certain moments, and you wouldn't know that some moments are going to be memorable. So you still have photos of things you otherwise wouldn't have.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why does it cost so much?
You think it costs so much?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it costs 60% of an iPhone?
It's more than 6% as good. Well, it's the price we started at, and we think that our customers at this point is an early adopter target group, where price also has shown not to be so important. When we move into retail, we'll see what we do with the price.
I also have actually two questions, but maybe the first one, if you fast forward, a couple of years, do you see this is the right device for this use case, or do you see something like whether it's Google Glass or sort of more variable computing, which do many things, and photos could be one more use case of that? How do you see that?
I think as with, wearable technology is something that is really emerging now, and with all of that, when a new technology range is coming, there will be several devices. There won't be one catch-all. And if you compare it to Google Glass does something else than we does, and vice versa.
But, you can just take photographs. That's not.
They take photographs, but Google Glass don't take photographs sort of subconsciously. You have to, with effort, take a photo.
That's just okay. But I would argue that's a very minor sort of software.
Yeah, but it's still in the design. It's a different thing if you have wear glasses, if you have an accessory on it. So.
My second question was, how did you establish demand for this? Do enough people care, or do enough people want to take these sort of just photographs of throughout my day, and what do I do with millions of photos after that?
Yeah, and that's where the software comes in. So you don't have to run through all these millions of photos. That's the basic point here. But the algorithm shows you what's most important for you. So you go through what's important for you, and if you want to dig into it, you can play this timeless video.
So real quick, is it storage in the cloud or storage on a device to your computer?
It's cloud.
It's in the cloud. So I tend to agree with the idea of get this out there, lower the price, get some adoption, go to a couple markets like kids, security, put it on the kid, the pictures going to the cloud, tremendous amount of security for parents. You got so many opportunities here in insurance and various other things as people travel around the world. Where's your daughter? Where's your son? What's going on? And then there's got to be a demographic here. Young person's probably 14 to 19 years old, I suppose, but I think you're ready to just roll this out.
Thank you.
You're going to find out a lot more by rolling it out than you are by trying to figure out more before you roll it out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, true. Well, we're doing both.
Since we have time, what do you do about privacy?
Well, that's a question that, of course, comes up a lot, and we've been thinking about that ever since we started, and that's one of the reasons why it looks like it does. It's not invisible. It's pretty clear if I'm wearing it. You see, I have it on me, and you can ask me what it is, and you can ask me to take it off if you don't like it.
Yeah.
But if you compare it to glass, again, you don't know if the glass is taking photos or not. Here, there is no on and off button, so if it's on, it's on. If it's in my pocket, it's in my pocket.
All righty. Thanks, Oscar. Let's give Oscar a big round. Okay. So our next company is On Farm, and Lance Donnie, the CEO, is going to present.
That's one. Nice. Thanks. Oh.
Yeah, good. Where's the clicker? Oh, there it is.
Imagine make a parole people wear these things.
Yeah,
I mean,
idea of putting it on toddlers, but
Toddlers.
idea,
Yeah, put on collars right under.
Great.
Boom.
Am I good? Good to go. Great. Thank you, everyone. Again, my name is Lance Donnie. I'm the founder and CEO of On Farm. On Farm integrates ag data from the field, sensor data, cloud data, in a decision platform so growers can make better, more informed decisions about their ranch. Oh, wrong direction. Okay, so understanding growers is very simple. If you survey growers, there's two things in every survey they're most interested. One is, how do they make more money? Because if you know anything about commodities, they don't get to set their price, right? The market sets their price. They try to grow more or try to have less inputs, fertilizer, water, labor, energy, those things. And they try to avoid risk. That'd be things like frost, too much pesticide, wrong time, not enough water, too much water, labor in the wrong spots. Those are very manageable risks. The problem with some of those risks is they're catastrophic. If you look at the corn industry, If a corn crop misses its irrigation event by 2 days, which just doesn't seem like a lot if you miss your lawn sprinklers by 2 days, they can see a decrease in their profits by 40%. That's significant, it's avoidable, and what growers are using today are more and more technology to stay on top of how their farm is operating in remote locations, large organizations. So how do growers make decisions today? Manually, a lot of them still use lots of manual systems. That's a part of their decision making. That's their consultants, that's spreadsheets and so forth. And information systems, and they're all in silos. So the average grower in the US that does $500,000 in revenue or more has 5 or 6 systems today that give them different sets of information decisions. None of those are integrated. The industry doesn't have a standard. And so they end up pulling up 5 or 6 different systems every day to figure out where their crops are, how to make decisions, what they need to do. We think we need to change that. So today, in the US and Europe, there are 4 million connected farms. That's not farms with a guy with a smartphone. That's farms with actual sensors and technology in the field that are giving them data. That's about a $2 billion market today for us. That's growing in the next 7 years to about a 4 million farm market in the US and Europe. That's 68 million connected devices. So if you think of the average grower, it's an avalanche of data. Someone going from a handful of devices to the average grower, 50,000 in revenue or more, which is a pretty small grower, having 50 or more sensors and devices giving them information every day, all day long. Whoop, and I just went past it, didn't we? So On-Farm works with data providers, that's hardware companies, software companies. We integrate in an open platform in the back end, all their information in one platform. We're agnostic from that perspective. Whoops. Our system enables the staff that help decision-making in the field of access that information, as well as the consultants. So growers are very reliant upon consultants to make decisions. Pesticide consultants, crop consultants, and other. It's an entire ecosystem of decision-making in a very disparate environment. We bring it all together in one application. So this is going to run through a demo a little bit. I'll walk through a use case. So a grower in one of our early customers was trying to buy new property in Arizona. They've got a very large 10,000 acres of pistachios, and they were trying to buy some pistachios in Arizona. Not a market, not an environment for weather and other things they're familiar with. They actually used On-Farm in their pre-buy decision to take a look at historic weather data to determine what conditions they were going to grow under, and were able to make their acquisition of that property, which was a multi-million-dollar acquisition, in an unknown market for them based on On-Farm data. So real applications for both planting in the field today as well as acquisition growing later. So competitive advantages, we've got several. I've left IP at the end. That's really our least advantage. Really, we're hardware agnostic. So in a market in which there's about a couple hundred hardware providers, they all have their own little piece of software, none of that works together. We're agnostic and can pull in everything from sensor data to imaging data. We've solved the integration platform. We're the first ones to market with that open platform. Our product is OEM or white labeled. So we don't try to go to market and try to sell one-on-one to growers. I've built those markets. They're very slow. We are actually rebrandable as a white label version. So the hardware companies we've built partnerships with will white label our product, sell it to their customer base, and we control everything from sensor data all the way to control. So we can turn pumps, valves, pivots, if you know the big round irrigation systems, on and off, which is a very complex set of relationships. So how do we make money? We've got a dashboard we sell to growers today, which is at a SaaS model, annual subscription. We've got a white label product that this year we should have 3 large companies in the ag space white labeling our product. That's about a $50,000 annual commitment, and that goes up from there based on the number of users they're going to deploy into their environment. We know data analysis is going to be very interesting. So we'll have the largest set of ag data that will exist. USDA doesn't have this data. No one has this data. Once you're taking a look at that data to either make insurance decisions, investment decisions, risk decisions, growing decisions, seed companies looking for new markets or how their product perform, we'll have access to this data on a per analysis basis. And then an enterprise model. So if you take a look at the really large organizations around the world that have lots of contracted growers, very disparate environment, hundreds and hundreds of growers, no way to top-down or bottom-up manage those operations. you'll be able to deploy on-farm as well as expert models and models inside our environment to help manage better. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm done.
What's the current status of the company?
Yeah, so we
Go
went
back a
commercial.
slide.
Oh, back a slide? You want to see this? Okay, I'm the only one that has one of these. I should get points for this. We think it's $36 million in revenue in year 5. We went to commercial February this year. We have paying customers now. We spent the last almost year building. It's a SCADA system, and the back-end system is a very complex system of integration, so we can rapidly deploy technology. So that's where we are today.
What's your sales cycle like? What's the average revenue per customer? And last question is, what do you do that cannot be done manually, if anything? So sales.
Okay, so 3 questions there. The first question is our average sales cycle.
Sales cycle.
To a grower is usually pretty quick, under 2 months.
Under 2 months
Yeah,
from the
because
first point of contact.
Yeah, because it's a relatively small investment for them. A couple $1,000, $3,000 a year for the average farm. Pretty small investment for software.
How long does it take you to make that presentation?
An hour. Yeah.
How long does it take you to get the appointment? I'm saying you got to be rolling
that
this
is not
out.
our primary channel.
All right.
See, our
Go ahead.
primary channel is the OEM channel because I built, you don't have that here, but my background is I was the CFO and VP of Business Development of a VC-backed soil moisture company, raised $15 million. I built direct models. They're very slow.
Yeah.
We're not building that model. We're building an OEM model where 90% of our sales will go through those channels in which we'll help those partners who don't have a good software solution deliver it into that space. And I totally agree with you. So was there a follow-up on that?
The revenue per sale approximately. What's the size per sale? Is that 10,000?
It's about 3,000 per farm. If you take a look at an average farm, that's why we don't want direct. That's why we want to execute through partners.
And what do you do truly? You said this is done manually now, but there's got to be something here that you do that's truly magical.
So the magical part is systems today are disparate. You've got 5 or 6 systems that you're trying to pull data out of. They're antiquated. Most hardware companies, or all hardware companies in the ag space, have very antiquated software systems, really not usable from a data perspective, and they're not staying up on top of those things. They're focused, their R&D efforts are focused on hardware. The magic part of this is we're the only ones that are able to integrate the data today in the ag space. We've actually talked to now 40 different hardware companies, and they're all saying the same thing. Their customers are going, we want an integrated solution. We don't have an integrated solution. So this is a way for them to get to market with the solution that fits their customer need.
How many third-party data sources do you use, like weather, and how much do you pay for that?
Well, the only one we actually pay for was one, which is a virtual weather system, and we pay $20 a year for that service.
And the rest is freely available?
Everything is free. We get the data free. We have the right to use that data in our EULA with our customer as well as our data partner.
Thanks.
So who brings in your team sort of the domain experience of the agriculture, sort of that space and markets?
Right. So I spent several years at a VC-backed soil moisture monitoring company. I grew up in ag as well, raising table grapes and raisins, and spent 20 years in software. We've brought in some of the software team that's worked for me previously to build the back-end system. Now we're bringing in product management and sales on that are kind of deep in the ag space. Very relationship-based sale and business. And I've been doing most of this, but now we're kind of, we finished our round and we're adding to that team.
When is the acute point when a farmer needs to use you? So acquisition of a new property, which is actually relatively rare in their life cycle.
Yeah.
But what is that pain point that you can sell against?
Yeah, so that's kind of the quick example of a use case. The long example of use case is this is data they need to make decisions all the time on. So typically our sales cycle is pre-season. So if you look at the March through June, July timeframe, that's for the most part a dark period because growers are just 100% focused on those things. And so it's usually after the season they start getting interested in buying new technology and hardware, and our data partners pull us in for that. One of our bigger partners, brought us into the largest grower in California in wine production, 50,000 acres. So I mean that's kind of the cycle. That's where we come.
We're all time's up. Thanks, Lance.
Yep.
Okay, so our next company is Quick, and co-founder Jack Wrigley is going to present.
Is that good? Hello? Hello? Check, check. How do I follow the ag guy? Holy smokes. Cool product, though. I like it. Forward. Great. My name is Jack Wrigley, and I am the co-founder of a company called Quick. And on behalf of the 37,000 employees, okay, I just thought I'd try a joke. Guy Kawasaki earlier said you don't want to scale too fast, so I thought I'd throw that out. Bottom line is there's two people behind our company. There's myself and my business partner, John Fan. What we've built is a product that is designed to be a peer-to-peer social commerce platform. From the very early stages of developing our product, the first wireframes that we developed, we focused on two things: monetizing and selling stuff. And as a result, we've created a product called Quick. Before I show you the product, I'd like to show you what people are currently using the product to sell today, right now. We have people around the world selling everything from chocolates to jewelry to dresses to gift cards. And it's pretty spectacular. But while that's awesome, what we're really focused on with regard to our go-to-market strategy are small businesses. Today, there's over 25 million small businesses in the United States alone that are all trying to figure out how to leverage social media to do one thing: sell stuff. And while they understand the value of Facebook and Twitter and Foursquare and SMS and email, they're literally going crazy trying to manage it. But now they're starting to shout out, "Show me the ROI." ROI, return on investment for small businesses, comes down to one simple thing: ringing their till. Because a daily till ring makes their week makes their month makes their year. The product that we developed delivers ROI. It's elegant, it's powerful, but most of all, it's super simple to use, and we call it Quick. One quick post with a buy button shared to Facebook, Twitter, Foursquare, SMS, and email does a spectacular thing. It creates a consistent selling message across all the social platforms in a matter of seconds, delivering true ROI for a small business. So how do we close the transaction loop? We did it by integrating PayPal. The reason we selected PayPal is our product is used internationally today. PayPal allows us to support 19 different currencies, and I'm happy to say that a number of those are being currently used right now. So how do we acquire customers? We have two approaches: direct acquisition as well as indirect acquisition through strategic relationships. The first relationship that we've put together is with a little company called Constant Contact. Constant Contact has over 500,000 small businesses today using their products to do more selling through email campaigns, social campaigns, as well as through event planning. We've integrated Constant Contact into our platform, which enables a user of Constant Contact to take that quick post and instantly turn it into an email campaign while simultaneously sharing that post to Facebook, Twitter, Foursquare, and SMS. We're not stopping, though, at Constant Contact because we want to leverage partnerships to help us drive users. We are currently talking with others, including the Texas Rangers and Major League Baseball. We're talking to Mary Kay, and we're really excited about the two credit card transaction companies we're currently in discussions with. So what does revenue look like? Well, for us, we think it's pretty big. We estimate, based on a 3.5% take in terms of when something sells on our platform, as we scale to 200,000 users, we can drive over $80 million in revenue for our company, and that's pretty exciting. Quick has been specifically positioned to take advantage of 4 very important aspects today in business. That includes social, local, mobile, and commerce. We're right smack dab in the middle of that. Myself and my business partner, John Fan, have known each other for a number of years. We have combined experience in over 5 startups at either the founder level or the executive level. And I'm telling you, we're really excited about what we've built because people are starting to use it, and that's very exciting. Thank you very much for listening to what we're doing, and appreciate it. Please download the app. Thank you.
Sure.
No
You
question.
got more expertise than I do.
Lots of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
This is a very hard market to go after, very hard to get distribution to them. And Constant Contact is one way, but not the only way. So how are you planning to sell the product? How are you planning to reach those 25 million small businesses?
Sure. Well, we're really focused right now on low-cost user acquisition, and the best way that we think we can do that is by partnering with companies that already have a footprint over small business that are looking for mobile solutions. So, for example, PayPros or ProPays, they're two different companies. Combined, they have over 1 million small businesses, and we're talking to them today because they're looking for a mobile solution for their small business. They don't have one, and they look at us as a very convenient, potentially powerful product that they can just roll right out to their user base. So we are squarely focused on that in the early days in terms of acquisition.
Okay. An unrelated but sort of related question. What do you guys do that's differentiated? So when someone like Constant Contact is looking to partner with you, there's a huge number of companies that do something similar. So what do you do that's unique that makes Constant Contact want to get into a partnership?
Sure. So if you were to talk to Constant Contact, and I'd be more than happy to put you in touch with them, they will tell you that the thing that we do the best is quick content creation. If you look at what Constant Contact does, their biggest pain point is creating content for any of the products. They love the fact that in a matter of seconds, a customer can create a post with a buy button and share it out. That's our big attribute to what they like.
Thanks.
Yep.
A customer, though, is a small business, right?
Yep.
Is
can
that
be.
correct? And
Yep.
they're sending us out to, in theory, their customers.
Correct.
Their network. So
Correct.
it still seems to be a bit of a struggle. I mean, if I create a post, do you help create posts? You give me templates. I run a small business. Do I just say, hey, something's $9.95 instead of $20 now? I'm just trying to get a sense of how you do this or how you counsel them.
Yeah, so we have a couple of different things. First of all, working with Constant Contact, they help train their customer on how to use Quick. That's the first one.
That's fine.
The second
I meant your message, though. The message that the small business is going to give.
The message the small business
Yeah,
is
so
going to
let's
give.
just say I sell bicycles.
Yeah.
And I want to, but I really don't, I'm not very good at writing content myself. Give me an
Sure.
example. I want to do a special on some bicycle component.
Yeah, so the best thing for a bicycle person would be what I call kind of enhanced engagement. And what that really means is that I might own a bicycle shop, and this past weekend I took a killer video of riding the Tahoe Rim Trail, for example. I post that on Facebook, and I start engaging my Facebook audience. As part of that engagement, I can say, you know what made this really special was this new bike I have. And as that audience starts engaging around, well, what is that bike? I can instantly take a picture of the bike, geotag it to my location, share it to Facebook with a buy button, and let my audience just buy it.
Sure. 1 minute. How do you guys make money?
3.5% on anything that's sold.
Okay, transaction fee.
Transaction.
And that's okay with the integrators that are running the low-level transaction, doing the credit card processing?
So far, it's fine. Honestly, I haven't cut a deal yet, so
Thanks.
that's still to be determined. But so far, it's good.
So in terms of the value prop, so you mentioned that what I understand is that what you offer is a utility. So instead of doing it individually on different networks, you aggregate it so they can use one tool to be able to publish it on multiple networks. And then,
Yes, sir.
But what's you mentioned you're solving the ROI problem, which today they can't solve. So I didn't get that piece. How do you prove your ROI?
How do we prove our ROI?
Yeah.
The best way that we prove ROI is when a small business posts something on another network and there's a sale, they immediately get notified that they just sold something, and that therein lies the proof in terms of
How is that different if they would just post it themselves on Facebook and then get the sale?
All right.
The same
Thanks,
way?
Shaq. You can answer that last one offline. So
Yep,
your
nope,
time's up.
thank you.
Thanks, Shaq. Okay. So our last company is Video Step, and Jean Tripier is going to present.
Video step.
All right. That is not right, but can you move to the first?
Hey, since Rachel left, Bill, why don't you sit up there and be the third panelist? Seriously.
All right. Let me tell you a little bit about Video Step. My name is Jean Tripier. I'm the CEO of the company. skip that? Okay, all right. So VideoStep is a company that was started with a very simple idea, which is that looking at web content today, so the actual article that web publishers are publishing, it is what we call the content zone, which of course attracts 100% of user attention, but generates less than 1% of the advertising revenue for publishers. So all of the advertising revenue is generated at the edge, bottom of the page, side, etc. Nothing from the content zone. And just to give you an example, for instance, publishers today worldwide generate about 60 billion video views a month. Half of YouTube's video views are generated by third-party web publishers. The advertising revenue generated by the same publishers for these video views is exactly $0. So a bunch of assets, people are looking at them, not generating any advertising revenue for the publisher. The reason publishers cannot really leverage the content itself to generate advertising revenue is very simple. Number one, if you touch the content of the website, you have to deal with the editorial teams of the publishers, meaning that any advertising needs to be permission-based, it needs to be relevant, it needs to be contextual, and it needs to be extremely discreet in the way it's presented back to the end user. Second, when you want to push advertising into the content zone, you cannot have a footprint. You need a zero-pixel solution. Why? Because if you have pixels into the content, you're going to disrupt the flow of when the person actually reading the content itself. You're going to destroy the end-user experience and the brand for the publisher as well. And thirdly, if you want to push advertising into the content zone, you cannot have outlinks. As you know, today, 99% of advertising on the web is based on outlinks. We take you somewhere else in order to generate CPC advertising dollars. You need a solution when you are in content that is going to be in-link. You need to keep the user on the site. You cannot export them elsewhere. These three issues mean and explain why today no advertising revenue is going to be generated by the content zone. So VideoStep looked at this situation and built a platform that basically addresses these issues and allows, for the first time, advertisers to generate that advertising revenue from the content. Our solution is based, number one, on a set of crawlers that identify what we call high engagement triggers within web content. Embedded videos, photographs, keywords, anything you're actually looking at when you're reading that content. Second, we index all of these high engagement triggers, and we also index them in a way, and I'll explain that later, that allows us to sell them as advertising assets as well. Thirdly, we have built a 70 million video index of embeddable and exportable high-quality videos that we use through a recommendation engine. All of this is fairly obscure, of course. Let me show you an example of how it actually works in the real world. We launched our solution in November. We started crawling websites for publishers. We started identifying high engagement triggers. In that case, the journalist decided to insert a YouTube video into an article to illustrate the article he was writing. We detect that that video is clicking at a very high rate. 35–40% of readers of that article are actually clicking on the video. So instead of just playing the video when you're going to play on it through our script, we're going to present to you the video into a meta player. It's going to automatically stream and show you the video you clicked on. At the same time, it is also going to show you recommended videos, meaning videos that we know you're going to be interested in the context of the content you are looking at. And second, it's going to show you sponsored advertising videos that also, according to our algorithm, are going to generate a high click rates based on the original content of the article and based on the video and the asset you clicked on. Another example of our solution, we are going to identify in an article keywords. In this example here, we identified charmed as a keyword because it relates to the article you're looking at, but it also, because it talks about a TV series, it is also a keyword that is going to be associated with a desire to see videos associated with the keyword. If you do a mouse over on that little word with a play symbol next to it, we're going to show you immediately a slider with the top highest ranking videos associated with that keyword. And from that, we're also going to ultimately generate advertising revenue for the publisher. So we launched a solution in November. We've signed up over 50 publishers in about 4 months. These publishers represent about 5 billion page views. We started selling advertising campaigns in March. We went from $5,000 of revenue in March to about $65,000 this month. We are in a market where we have no direct competition. We have a bunch of ad tech, video syndication companies, or recommendation engine that compete, but nobody that is in content with no outlinks and a zero footprint. And we believe, more importantly, that we can provide web publishers finally with a way to monetize what we call the desert of advertising, which was the in-content zone. We do it through a high engagement asset, videos. We do it in a way that doesn't interrupt the experience of the end users. And we do it with a script you can implement on 5 minutes on your website.
All right, thank you. Let's start the questions.
Bill, our new guest, our new judge.
Well, if I were Rachel, what I would ask right now is, the proof of the pudding is obviously in your revenue numbers. At the very end, you tell us, $5,000 to $65,000 a month.
Yeah.
And go, oh wow, you've proven something. But I guess my confusion is, it feels to me as though you're violating your principles in terms of you're interrupting my flow, I mouse over, I get this stuff pops up, you're taking me off the page, you're putting me on a player, you're distracting me. It felt, you were telling me all these things that, the publishers don't want on the editorial side, and then it seems to me you're violating them all.
Yeah, so we're a two-factor permission solution. So if you don't do a mouse over, we're not going to interrupt your experience. So you've decided to engage effectively through the play symbol and the mouse over with what we're going to present to you. Second, it's not outlink based. By outlink, I mean taking you to a third-party site in order to show you that video is advertising. We stay on the publisher side, which has huge benefit from an SEO point of view and other advantages as well. But really, the way to address your question, which we hear a lot from publishers, of course, is, are you going to mess up with my reader's experience on my content?
Right.
With our solution, we actually track that. So we have tools that allow us to define the density of these engagement triggers and which one we're going to do, based on the click rates and the rate of closure of the overlay, etc. So in other words, we have a smart system that allows us to make sure that we do not get into that gray zone where we start interrupting the end user's experience.
Okay, so you have the data you can feed back to them that says, even though it feels as though I'm disruptive, don't worry, the data says it isn't. That's
correct, exactly,
okay,
yeah.
Okay,
and we are, and just to give you an example, so Le Monde, for instance, which is the French equivalent of the New York Times, for instance,
We've heard
is
of it.
using our solution on their site. And these are premium publishers that put a massive premium on their brand and content. So in other words, the reality is that what we allow them to do is to monetize assets they were not monetizing before in a way that is 10 times less destructive than anything else they can insert, either at the edge of the content or through some other solution onto the platform.
So I have a company I work with that is a publisher, uses YouTube extensively, and has had some pain to figure out how to use YouTube correctly and not have people taken off the page. I have as I sat here, not as an investor but as a user, I just got concerned that this would disrupt the flow that Bill mentioned. And that was just the issue. You're bringing up a whole bunch of distracting screens. If I'm a publisher, I want that user to kind of do one thing or two things. I want to register, I want to pay for something, buy something, make an order. I want to provide a little bit of content, but I don't want them going off and doing a lot of research if I can help it. Follow my thought on this? So you've got, if you're a newspaper, it's great. If you're doing a research project, it's great, but I'm trying to sell a product, and I'm not sure, I haven't really followed that. I'm getting excited about it. And maybe that's a presentation issue. Okay.
So what's the business model? Are you like an ad network and you're going to advertisers and then sharing?
We are going to advertisers. For a solution, we generate an RPM that is in excess of $5 per page. For many of these publishers, that's anywhere from 10 to 40% of the advertising revenues they generate on the page. And we sell it directly to the advertisers for them to push long-form, high-quality video ads effectively onto the platform.
So how many ad campaigns have you done?
So again, we started in
Okay,
March.
time's
We,
up. Jan, thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Let's, please help me in thanking all the panelists and the speakers. Okay, and